Welcome to the Grow Your Business Cleveland video series. Co-producing and appearing in the series, the talented GYB CLE Interns. Supporting sponsors include NOAC, a regional partnership of Chambers of Commerce. New Image Media, Northeast Ohio's most recognized name in video for business.
In this episode, Tony Felice, entrepreneur, lifelong learner, and technology guru, shares consulting skills that every entrepreneur needs. After the tip, we go backstage where Tony shares his passion for the truth, teacher versus entrepreneur, real-world advice, and more.
I'm Tony Felice with Inline Technology Services, and I'd like to talk about consulting skills that every entrepreneur needs. Well, the first and most obvious skill of a consultant is competency. You have to choose an area of expertise in which you can keep yourself current and know what you're talking about. And you have to know where that fits into the broader picture that your clients are going to be concerned with. You need to know where the boundaries of your knowledge are, because there may be something that you're just not aware of. And as long as you have a good idea of what the limits of your own knowledge are, you're not going to get yourself or your clients in trouble. The next skill is to be yourself. It's very tempting to be bland, to try not to offend anyone. But the problem there is that you don't give people a chance to know who you actually are, and they don't get to know and even anticipate the unique contributions that you might be able to make to them. Next comes the very important skill of listening intently. You may be the expert on the subject being talked about, but you need to walk into the room knowing that you're going to learn something that you didn't know. It may be about your subject. It may be about the way the people in the room are thinking about it, or what they feel, or what they're afraid of. But you're going to learn something that you didn't know. The next skill is the ability to adapt your presentation to your audience. If you've been listening intently, you know something about what they think, what they feel, how much they understand about the technical subject being discussed, and what they want to know. Be careful not to talk down and insult someone when they've showed you that they have a certain amount of knowledge. And be careful not to do things like using jargon or acronyms or things that only someone who is a specialist in your field could understand. The next skill brings us really to the culmination of the consulting process. The way you've been communicating has allowed the people you're working with to really understand what you're saying, allowed you to really understand what they're saying, what their needs are, what they're looking for. And now you're in a position to offer a really unique insight. You can offer an analysis that's in some way different from what anyone else would have come up with. You bring your own unique insight or your own frame of reference to the situation. Remember, what your clients are looking for from you is help to come to an understanding or a solution that they wouldn't have come to without you. So this is where you really shine. This is where you come up with an insight that you'd have to have been you to understand or to think of. And at this point, they're ready to hear it.
Up next, we get to know Tony. The words of Martin Luther King Jr. made a lasting impression on Tony's life and career.
You know, whenever I'm asked about a favorite quote, one comes to mind that just made such an impression on me that I've just thought about it for years. And that's Martin Luther King once said, "Nothing in all the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity." And you know what that means to me is we have an obligation to seek the truth. And just because we sincerely believe something, that doesn't mean that we've done our homework. I think it's really dangerous for folks to ever think that they're exempt from that. I'm very well aware of the fact that even my passionately held beliefs could be wrong. And I just really, I aspire to and I admire people who are just passionately dedicated to wanting to know the truth and wanting to act in accordance with it.
Experience is the teacher of all things. Julius Caesar.
In some ways, being a teacher, like an academic teacher, is very different from being an entrepreneur. And sometimes I look fondly at the old days that I can describe as they used to round up my customers, bring them to me, and tell them they weren't allowed to leave until I was done with them. And then they gave me a paycheck. What's not to love about that? When you're an entrepreneur, you got to kill what you eat. You got to go out and find it and drag it home. But apart from those sort of differences, I think being a teacher is more of a mentality. It's an approach. It's an attitude toward life. I'm a lifelong learner, but I'm fascinated with how people think about things. And I just am most energized by being in a situation where I can help somebody understand something that they really want to understand. So when I find situations like that, whether it has to do specifically with my current technical field or not. That's really what lights me up.
Tony shares one of his favorite resources and gives us some sound advice for kickstarting our future careers.
One way to get more familiar with the real world is to read the stuff that the people in the real world jobs are reading. One of the things that I'm pretty faithful in reading is a publication called the Linux Journal. I learn a lot about what's going on in the Linux world from that, but a lot beyond that as well. One of the things about any good, really industry or trade-oriented magazine or journal, whatever, is that it's going to have a lot of references. And when you read an article that's about something that interests you, you'll either look up the author, there'll be a reference, a section at the end about resources, links, all kinds of things, and it can lead you off in any direction. You can go anywhere. But it always gives you a place to start. So that way you get a feel for what the practitioners in the field you're interested in are thinking about, reading about, talking about, what kind of research they're doing. And you can really get a leg up on figuring out where you fit.
So how did Tony score as a Grow Your Business Cleveland expert? We gave a thumbs up for his consulting tips, being a truth seeker, always learning, and showing us how to connect with real-world resources.
Special thanks goes to our Grow Your Business Cleveland contributing experts for supporting our mission of growing business and kickstarting careers in Northeast Ohio. So don't miss a video or an opportunity to be part of the show. Subscribe at GYBCLE.com and follow us on our social media channels. And remember, if you like it, share it.